welcome to episode, I guess, three. Yeah, three of the Modern Day Morons podcast. With your hosts, Liam.
Braden.
And Jacob.
As you can see, the
Swing.
synergy is off the charts. Today's
High
sponsor
energy at all times.
is the Lynn Public Library in North Vancouver. It's a great place to read some books, to have a nice, quiet, safe experience.
Would you care to tell us about what happened at the Lynn Public Library, Liam? Is there any interesting events of notice?
Well, actually, yesterday, a man came into the Lynn Public Library, stabbed at least 7 people, killing one, severely
Liam,
injuring.
now hold on. Hold on. We said we weren't going to do this again.
We said we were going to have a lighter podcast. We didn't say no stabbings.
Man, they're really trying to up their public image, eh?
Yeah.
Sending out sponsorships immediately after that happening.
Yeah, if you want a safe place to read a book, and they've only had one stabbing this year, so you've got like a 1 in 365 chance of
This year?
this
What about
year.
last year?
I don't know all the facts, okay? I just know we get paid to make people read books in an environment where they may or may not be stabbed brutally to death. So
I'll tell you this. I went to the Lynn Public Library in Northern Vancouver, and I was only stabbed twice. So,
See?
you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad. It's quite a safe library.
get your library card
So
now.
I would recommend.
Yeah, Vancouver's
I wish we were
notoriously a
dropping
safe
chicken
city.
bits.
Another place that's very safe in Vancouver, I've been there myself, is East Hastings Street. You meet some of the best people there, so Vancouver all around, shout out. And thoughts and prayers to the stab victims, because one of them dead, and a few more of them might be by the next podcast. Yeah.
We gotta stop letting Liam.
Why did the sponsorships go to his email?
Hey,
Oh God.
hey man, we're starting up as a podcast. We're not at the stage where we can decline sponsors, okay? You know, we gotta take what we can get on a daily basis.
Gotta run them sponsorships for the Lynn Public Library. Don't get stabbed.
Don't get stabbed. Fucking be faster, stronger, better. Have a gun. Open carry. If guns were
that's
legal in
legal,
Canada,
right?
yeah. If we had better gun laws like the States, then we'd be able to just pop because everyone. I mean, then the argument could be made that he would have popped instead of shanked, but.
So, I noticed you said better gun laws, like the States. Are you trying to imply that the States has better gun laws than Canada?
It was a hyperbole
Yeah, man.
oxymoron, but yes.
The only way to stop a bad guy with a gun, Jacob, is clearly a good guy with another gun. The more bullets flying in the air, the safer everyone is.
More guns,
End of
less
story.
problems. That's a general rule of thumb.
Yep. That's what I learned from listening to all my favorite conservative radio hosts.
I feel like this podcast is getting bad for my public image.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably.
that was a given.
Yeah.
Yikes. Okay, good to know. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, so our first actual topic, because who cares about stab victims, is being at the bottom of the corporate ladder. So, as many of you guys know, I work night shift at a gas station. And I do my job. I show up every day that I'm supposed to show up. I do the work. And fucking asshole McD, Jeffrey, was like, I'm gonna give my 2 weeks notice, then get conveniently sick on my last weekend I'm supposed to work, and then not tell anyone I'm sick, so that until 3 hours before the shift, so everyone has to scramble, and it really fucks over the people who work there, mainly me, and that's why I'm kind of upset about it. His exact words were, "Sorry I didn't text sooner, I was throwing up." And now, if you're that fucking sick for multiple days and you're throwing up all day, I feel like you know you're not going to work if you're actually that sick. So why don't you send a goddamn text message, Jeff, more than 3 hours before your fucking shift? Because
I have a couple thoughts on that.
okay,
Maybe because Jeff, perhaps I don't know Jeff. I don't want to call out Jeff's character here, but Jeff kind of sounds like an asshole, or at the very least, does not respect Jeff's coworkers. Because, I mean, like, if I'm sick, I'll call in to work. That's no problem. Whatever, it happens. But if I don't like my work, I'm still gonna call in. In fact, I'd probably be more likely to call in. But I would feel like when I call in sick to work, I feel bad about calling in sick to work because I'm like, man, my poor coworkers that I actually like,
yeah,
these nice people are going to suffer because I'm not there to help. So I'm always sure to give as much notice as possible when I'm calling in sick. Like if I know I'm gonna call in sick tomorrow, because I don't know how it works everywhere, but I know at least where I work, you can't call in sick the day before your scheduled shift. Like you have to call in, like if you work at 6 a.m., you have to call in at 4 a.m.
yeah,
that you're sick. You can't call in at 10 p.m. the night prior, though you know damn well if you're sick.
For me when I worked retail.
yeah.
Which I find kind of weird.
Pain in
That's
the
kind of
ass.
fucking stupid, to be honest. Because like, if I know at 10 p.m. on Saturday that I'm not coming to work at 6 a.m. on Sunday, don't you think it'd be better for me to call you on Saturday night and be like, hey, I'm not going to be there? Not like, if I know I'm not coming, I'm still not going to be coming. I'm going to set my alarm for 4 a.m. and I'm going to call you and be like, hey, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
And then hang up and go to sleep. Like, it's like, who the fuck does this help? Anyways,
Managers?
assholes.
But even then, not really.
Yeah.
Because
I
how
mean,
does
like-
that, like, would it be better to call in the day before and have them have the time to be able to call in for extra help if needed?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that?
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would.
Yeah, especially for like those
I've
early
thought
morning
long and hard
shifts.
about this. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the thing. I have to call in on like the day of your shift. No matter, like, if you work at 5 a.m., you call in as soon as you can on that morning.
Yeah.
But I still text my boss the night prior or as soon as I know, and I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be there tomorrow.
Hey, bro.
Like, I am sick and I'm not going to make
Hey,
it.
bro team.
Oh, bro
Welcome to the
team.
shit
Big
show.
4040G.
We're just
We're talking about sick calls.
So like, yeah, and another thing that's
Mhm.
kind of different with your guys' occupations in the past compared to mine is like you typically work for bigger retail businesses or like bigger companies with more staff. Like my other two jobs were very short, very like understaffed places, so I got called in a lot. And then my most at the gas station, there's only a few people trained on that batch shift. Now, like the thing you said about like screwing over your coworkers, I feel the same way. Like you don't want to screw over your coworkers. This Jeff fuck though just works 2 nights a week, weekend batch shift, so he doesn't really have those connections. Like, and it really just kind of like, it's like I'm very reliable at my job, and it feels like you get punished for being reliable because then they rely on you when the unreliable people are unreliable. And it's like, I've kind of gone over it because it's not worth being angry about, but all shift last night, I'm like, bro, I pretty much worked for my days off because I enjoy them and I need them to reset. And now I'm basically working, like, technically I've been on the clock every single day for it'll be 12 days just because night shift carries over 2 days. And it's like, bruh,
Right.
fucking get your shit together. Because, like, I don't care if you, like, resent the company and want to screw them over. Like, I have a few employees, I won't dox them, but they do stuff that's probably not in the company's interest because they're just disenfranchised with how the company's run. And I'm like, do that all you want, but the second it carries over into me needing to do more work because you're underperforming in basic regards, it's like, just leave. Just get the fuck out of here then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like, it kind of makes sense, right? Like, well, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the trying not to scuff your coworkers.
Yeah.
But again, like this Jeff guy, you said he's kind of a fucker. Like he doesn't care about the coworkers clearly. Otherwise, he would have called in, regardless of throwing up for multiple days straight. I'm sure it wasn't like a 72-hour action. So I'm sure he had time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was sick at all. Just you can't be like, sorry, I was busy throwing up today, so I couldn't text earlier. Like, you're not throwing up for like an 8-hour period, and you just get done. You're like, fuck, God, text work. It's like, so it's either he was legitimately sick for 3 days, in which case you can give more of a heads up, way more than like 3 hours, or he wasn't and just dead ass waited until 3 hours to be like,
Still
if
playing.
you can't find anyone." And they're like, "Well, we're at the other stores." And then I text them and I'm like, "So am I working today?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, okay."
Isn't this
Ask
so
them
much
for a
fun,
raise.
guys? This is what we get to do forever now.
Ask for a
Work for
raise.
the weekend, baby.
Yeah, I've made a
Yeah,
mental note
honestly,
though that like I'm gonna take a sick day one of my night shifts, and I'm not taking any shit about it whether I'm sick or not, because I'll give them more than fucking 3 hours notice. I'll give them like in the morning notice, but it's like I've earned. I'm taking that day off sometime in the future because
Oh, absolutely.
there's been
I
no
think
compensation.
my thoughts like it's good to establish a good repertoire with your work, and when the time comes to leave, you want to be able to have a reference out of it and be like, yes, this person came, they did good work up until the very end, kind of thing. But like, I think it's important to understand that you know y- work is not more important than yourself. At the end of the day, like it's just a job. Life is too short to like make sure your workplace, that's a big corporation that has
Yeah,
so many employees, is okay. Like fuck them. They'll be all right.
yeah,
They can recover. Whoever runs the
mhm.
show, who benefits from you working for them, has enough money that, were something to go wrong, too fucking bad. They're still richer than I'll ever be.
Yeah. I mean, like the two other places I worked were like small family-owned food places, so I felt especially guilty, or like especially responsible for helping as much as I could. But this place too, it's like no one I work with makes money or does better if the gas station does better. Like even the manager is salaried, and they might get bonuses if we meet certain requirements. But there's like they're all just under the corporate umbrella of Couche-Tard, who owns like Circle K.
Mm-hmm.
If you're out west, they own like Matt. Like
Just like one of the worst families in Canada. Let's be real.
yeah, and yeah,
That's who benefits.
they're French too, so that's just another strike right off the bat.
Just instant points down. Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I was pretty peeved off last night. I try not to get peeved off about those things, especially once they are happening, because it's like it's not worth the mental capacity to be angry and stressed
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
annoyed. But at the same time, it's like I do my fucking job. Why can't everyone else just do theirs? And then it's like when you have a job, you have like a social and basically legal contract to fucking do your job, and it's like there should be more consequences, I guess, for people. Like if you're legitimately canned for whatever reason, then I'm compassionate. But if you're texting like 2 hours and 45 minutes before your shift when you've supposedly been deadly sick for 3 days, it's like, come on, be better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
again, like
that's a rough one. Go ahead, Jacob.
like we were saying earlier, whereas like, at least where I work and other places, I'm sure it's like this too, where you can't call in sick a day before your shift kind of thing, which again, fucking stupid. Um, Even if that is a thing where you work, I don't know if it is or not.
No.
You can still give a heads up to your manager, like I was saying, if I'm sick on Friday, but I work Saturday, I'm texting my manager on Friday, and I'm like, hey, I'm very likely going to call in sick tomorrow. I would recommend you find somebody to cover my shift.
Yeah.
And then I call in sick that morning, and they're still fine because I've given them notice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just the right thing to do. Especially like if you're actually sick. I understand if you're not sick, if you wanna keep the lie up, then that's still probably a good thing to do. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. No, either like I don't know. I've been in like both. Like I've been on both ends of that scenario, being the employee who like didn't call with enough time ahead or whatever. Back when I used to work at a toy store. Don't recommend it though. Everybody will give you dirty looks next time you come through. You're gonna get shit for it. At least if you're cool with people you work with. And then the weird thing is now like I feel like uncomfortable taking sick days in my current job, which is weird because it doesn't harm anybody besides like because I work as a merchandiser for those who are unaware. So like I go around to grocery stores and shit and like build displays. But anyway, like the only person it really affects is like my my sales rep that I work with, but even then it doesn't really, because he's
Yeah.
kind of off doing his own thing and I'm doing a whole separate thing. But for some weird reason, I have like a really hard time taking sick days. Whereas before it'd be like I'd take at least one a month or whatever at Toys R Us, right?
Yeah.
Like just a day off or whatever, right? But I just don't feel comfortable doing it for some odd reason now, and I don't like that either, because I should feel totally fine taking a sick day from billion-dollar corporations or whatever, but
Yeah, well, society has programmed us to feel guilty when we don't make our overlords enough money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I totally get that. Like, I'm the same, and I'm not so worried about my job anymore. I'm like, I know you guys are fine, especially because every time I call in sick, I give enough warning, but I still feel bad about it. And I mean, I think, that kind of says more about you as a person than it does about everything else. But like Liam said, it's a shame that we have to feel bad about it, because
yeah, exactly.
they're fine, they're okay.
Yeah, it took me like a year and a half at my first job to ever, if they were understaffed or need someone to come in, to say no to a shift, because I just felt bad. And like sometimes it would legitimately, like, there's one time we were planning to go wings with the boys, and I was the one who arranged the entire thing, planned it, set it up, and then they text me like half an hour before, and I'm like, not gonna make it, boys. And the worst part is they texted Alex before me, and Alex said no, so then I had to fucking go in. But it's, but it's like.
I mean, again, though, you worked with like a smaller family-owned business, so I totally understand. Like, I too would feel like extra bad in a small company like that, or not even a company. Then like it makes it's like the bonds that you have they feel more real because it's like to a real person, not just another cog wheel.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's
But
like, and that's why I ended up leaving the pizza place, is because I was there when it opened the first time and when it reopened with new management, and I dead ass worked my ass off. Like the first like 2 or 3 weeks when it reopened, I was working like 50-hour, 60-hour weeks just like every day to make sure everything was set up. And then they're like, "Oh man, do you want to open and close the store?" And like the hours were so bad. Like I was working 6 days a week at one point and getting under 40 hours, and it's like, bro. And then it's like, by the end of the summer, when they're fully open, in full swing, most people are getting paid off the books, so they're not getting taxed, so they're actually making more than me and know how to do way less. I'm like, hey, can I make more than minimum wage since I'm literally a manager at this place? And they're like, nah, you kind of gotta prove that you've earned it. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, but literally by the end of that like the end of that day, the owner, she owns it with her boyfriend. The boyfriend came to pick her up because she wanted me to close again that night. And she's like, I'm leaving. I'm like, no, actually, I am. And she's like, very funny. I'm like, now here's my tea. And I grabbed my fucking fan I brought over because it was hot and they didn't buy a goddamn fan. And I carried my fan out of there and fucking like waddled, because I had to walk home. So I'm just walking down the street with my fan, like, fuck you. I'm like, I literally told her too. I'm like, don't worry, because it was like the day I got paid. So I'm like, don't worry about paying me for this shift. It's on the house. And she's like, you're an asshole. And I'm like, bye. And then her boyfriend was so confused watching me walk out with the fan. And then I see her like texting him, and he just looks up at me, and I'm like, I think we're good now. But like, I've been there a few times. They're nice, but it's like we got into a bit of a text argument after that too, because I just basically gave like equivocal points as to why I quit, and she's just like, I'm the owner, you're not. And I'm like, okay, see ya.
Fair point. You have to deal with the consequences now.
Yeah, I'm like,
this was also after, just for those who are unaware in our audience there, this is after the Bitcoin incident, wherein we were actually busy together. Like, I think
my one day off that week.
His literal one day off that week. And his management ended up calling him being like, oh, yo, hey, by the way, we just got charged like $3,000 by NS Power.
Yeah.
Quotes there. And they're gonna shut off our power. So all 3 or 4 of us, or however many of us were in the car, like zoom over there. Like we're like, fuck, we're gonna have to like take all of their product, like get it into our homes, into our stuff, keep
Yeah.
this like local business alive. And we get there, and Liam, please explain what the call and everything actually was.
Okay, so we're at McDitch with the boys. I'm whipping the minivan. My boss calls
Of
me.
course.
She's crying. I'm like, okay, calm down. What happened? She's like, we're behind on our bill or something. They're gonna shut off the power. I don't know what to do. I'm like, okay, calm down. She left the store. She left it with like 2 or 3 people who barely know what they're doing. So I'm like, fuck, I gotta get to the store. So I get to the store. I'm like, just meet me at the store. We'll figure this shit out. And then they start telling me what's happening. They're like, Bitcoin. And then Jasmine's like, the owner was like, hey, yeah, I went to a Bitcoin terminal. I paid them, and they're still saying they need more money, and that's all the money in the account, and just drain the account. And I'm like, what? Bitcoin? No, it's a scam. And then when I tell her she got scammed, she's even more upset. So now she's crying in her car. Another coworker goes to thing. So then I'm just working, managing the place, trying to keep the other people going. But when we thought the power was going to shut off, we were literally like, I'm like, it's fine. We'll load the minivan with all the frozen and perishable stuff. I got extra freezer and fridge space. We can load it in my house till we fucking figure this out. And that was literally the one day I was off, because if I was working, no one else there knew what Bitcoin was. And they were like, yeah, we got to pay in Bitcoin. I'm like, no, that's a scam. Don't give them $3,000 in untraceable funds.
What, you mean Nova Scotia Power doesn't deal in Bitcoin to pay your
What a-
$3,000 power bill?
And then ask for
Who
more
would
money?
have thought?
Also, what's up, Shay?
Hey,
Good to see you,
Shay.
buddy.
So you remember the pizza place I worked up by the Tims? I don't want to dox them too hard.
Yeah, good times. I wasn't there for that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, there.
Can't confirm or deny.
No, that's the
Perhaps.
other pizza place beside the Tims.
That Liam worked at.
Love that.
But yeah,
That's funny.
that was quite the experience.
What a great time. I remember like I'll never forget Liam going into like actual adult mode for a second when we were in that McDick's, and I'm pretty sure Liam had like as usual ordered like 30 items from the menu or whatever just to piss off the people working, and I remember he like gets up and he's like, hold on guys, I gotta take this. He goes over and he's like over on the other side of the room, and he's kind of like, yeah, wait, no, wait, are you fucking serious? No, calm down, hold on. Bitcoin. And it was just, it was something to behold.
Yeah, no, I fucking... And, like, there were nights, too, like, you guys came in where you just see, like, I'm working solo, and I have, like, constant orders of, like, all different random shit. Like, I had nights where I did, like, over 1,000 solo. And, like, the hardest part about that shit is, like, managing the phones, giving it to the delivery driver, fucking running 2 fryers, 2 ovens, like, just fucking working my ass off. Like, my boss is like, oh, if you need me, call me. I'm like, oh, I need you. She's like, I'll be there in half an hour. She calls half an hour later. I'm 40 minutes away. Do you still need help? And I'm like, never mind. I just slam the phone down. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, that's a scummy job. It's a good thing you quit.
I was a delivery driver once, and I got in my one and only ever accident while on the job.
Yeah.
I went out and I think I had like 3 or 4 successful deliveries. Bit of change in my pockets from tips. Although there was one asshole who gave me like literally $5 extra on a like $30 order, and he was like, "Can I get my cash back?" And I'm like, "You can, but I just." You're like you're 20 minutes away. I got gas to pay for, man, but sure. Incredible. And I gave it back to him. Yeah, I get home dejected back to the store, and I go back into a parking space so I can pick up the next like 6 orders that are inevitably going to be waiting. And some lady was backing out of the spa that's next door, and just
was that was in the old Civic, right?
That was in the old one, thankfully. Yeah, not the new one. I'd cry if it was the new one.
Yeah, I worked as a driver for a few shifts in the minivan when my parents were out, and it was pretty late. One day in Eastern Passage took me $20, and I'm just like speeding around, blasting music, fucking vaping, just like living the dream.
Delivery driving is like totally doable if you live like in a half decent area.
Yeah, and then keep the pizzas
totally
in your
make
trunk.
that as a job.
Keep the pizzas in your trunk, and that way you don't have to buy business vehicle insurance. This has been your insurance fraud tip of the day.
Clip. Didn't know that. Good to know.
The morons commit insurance fraud.
If you get pulled over with like a delivery bag of pizzas, they're gonna ask to see like your business insurance.
Like, what do you mean? I just stole this from somebody.
Yeah, no, this is my own bag.
I killed the other delivery driver. This is not for business. These are my pizzas now.
But
I paid extra for the bag.
Brett, do you remember that one time I was working solo and all the boys came in and I just like let you guys in the full kitchen?
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
that.
We
I
helped
remember
clean
that.
up and
Oh, yeah.
everything. I remember there was one time too though where we showed up and you were like, "Dudes, I'm too fucking swamped. Get the fuck out." you're like, "I'm 50 orders deep an hour in. Like, get the fuck out right now. Leave. I don't have time." It was like literally just you in there, and I was like, "Oh, poor guy."
Once Will and Luke came in, they like lawn board down and I made them like these 2-pound donaires with like pepperoni
Ooh,
and
yeah.
salami and ham, and dude, I got so good with the fucking slice and dice of the fucking dude. Shaving a donaire is so satisfying. It's like
I'm
an
surprised you've
ASMR
never
thing.
cut yourself in the kitchen environments you've worked in. Or
I
have
have
you?
Well, I have a star. I don't think it'll show up on the. You can kind of see it right above the knuckle
Almost
there.
visible, yeah.
It's that was from at Tally Tie. Some asshole put a broken plate in the sink, and I'm washing dishes like a fucking madman, and just slice. And then I'm like, "Fuck, I'm bleeding. Do we have a fucking Do we have a Band-Aid?" And he's like, "No. Why would we have those?" And I'm like, "What?" So then I like just wrap it in like paper towel and put like 2 gloves over it so it's hella tight. And then yeah, just start over. I'm trying to think that. Oh, once I almost food processed my hand, which would
I
have been
remember that
pretty
story,
bad
yeah.
because I was at Thai Thai, crushing the peanuts for the pad Thai, and I like as my hand was in, I like leaned over and I like bumped the on button, and it starts spinning, and I just like eject my hand, and I think the only other I've burned myself a lot of times, sometimes worse than others, never like severe, but. And then one time too, I was like peeling ginger really fast, and I just peeled my finger.
Oh.
So it's just like I'm like yeah. So it's just like a full like just down the thumb, like potato peel skin. So
Yum yum.
that was fun. But other than that, there hasn't been too many injuries. I burned my arm on like the pizza oven a few times, but like or like oil. If I'm like deep frying too fast, I get oil splashback. But nothing too severe.
I haven't gotten myself at Costco. Like we play with a lot of knives in the meat room, believe it or not. But I've never actually gotten myself
Juggling 'em
there.
and
Like,
shit.
yeah, I've never gotten myself with a knife. There's been times where it's been close, of course, but like, but while I was applying for this job, like I got hired on my first interview a couple days before. Like a couple days, I got the job the same month of my birthday, and like, I think a couple days after my birthday, I had an incident in the kitchen where I like cut my finger. You guys probably remember. I cut my
Yeah.
middle finger like down to the bone.
Yeah.
On the chicken, right?
Uh,
Trying to get
the
that
chicken.
chicken.
Yeah, you probably can't see. One sec.
Jacob flips
No, you
off
won't be
the
able to see.
audience.
But my middle finger is scarred. It was basically like from my nail to like somewhere here. It was a pretty decent cut, like all the way through to my bone. And so I had to go get stitches for that. And I had my finger all like stitched up and wrapped in fucking bandages and shit while I was applying for a job in a food processing
Great first impression.
in place. And I just kind of like didn't mention my finger. It's like, no, they didn't ask about it. I didn't mention it. Meanwhile, I was just over there like, fucking bleeding out.
Jeez.
Stitches in my finger. And they gave me like the tour of the room, and I was like, yeah, I'm just, can't use this finger right now for a bit longer, but we're almost done. And yeah, I've been safe at work so far, but there was one guy not long ago actually who like, so when we make roasts at work, you have to tie them with butcher's string,
Yeah.
and then you have to cut the twine. And I guess he was just going too fast, so he pulled the twine
Shite.
pulled the twine tight as he was cutting it. So he kind of like he pulled his arm back and swung the knife down, and he just like stabbed the knife into his forearm.
Oh.
It was pretty brutal. So he had to go get like fucking surgery for that. But he like
Ugh.
just missed anything,
Jesus.
which was good. But it was pretty, yeah.
Yeah, you
seemed
don't
pretty
want to be
sketchy.
stabbing yourself.
Yeah, it was right in the middle of his forearm.
Jesus.
Anyways.
Yeah. I've only ever had like one serious like bloody workplace injury. And it was during my current job, doing my fucking moving boxes thing and setting up displays, whatever. I was out in the back of a Walmart, and I had to like use a step ladder to go up like just grab a couple things off the top rack and get out of there, right, or the back room. And I used the step ladder. Everything was fine. I put it like I opened it up properly. I made sure all the supports were in, and I just carefully stayed on it, one hand holding on to something. Typical ladder safety, right? We try and keep it safe in this workplace. And
I took a whole class on ladder safety, bro. I know all about it.
It is important. Yeah. Back in the Toys R Us days, I tell you. Oh, so many ladder courses. But either way, we went and like I got it all set up, and I'm up at the top, and I like hear a dripping sound as I'm like going to grab it, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And I look at my hand, and there's just blood like pouring out of my finger, like all the way down. I cut it. Which one is it? This one? Yeah, it's this one. Can't really see it much, but there's some good scarring on the two knuckles here. And it like apparently when I opened the ladder up, it like sliced down to the bone on like two of my knuckles, and just absolutely like didn't even hurt. It was just blood everywhere. And so I'm like, well, fuck, like there's blood all over the box I had to get. There's blood on the floor. There's blood on this stupid fucking sharp ladder that's gonna give me tetanus. And then I like ran to the bathroom, and I'm like trying to hold it up, and I was like pouring water over it, and like an employee comes up and he's like, "Whoa, what happened there?" I'm like, I cut myself on a shitty ladder, man. Like, you guys got like first aid or anything? Like, I'm like legitimately getting lightheaded now too, because like I'm there's a lot of blood coming out of my fingers, like a fair amount.
There's more in there than you'd think.
Yeah, I was surprised because I was like, fuck, like I figured this would slow down, but again, it was like right down to the bones.
And that was on the outside of your fingers too?
Yeah, like on this part, yeah. It was a mess, and it was just like I kept pouring hot water and soap and shit, and it was just like it never stopped. And eventually, I got like first aid done and everything, and even then, it's like I still had to get like some stitches done at home. Oh, good times. And one time I threw my back out, but that's not as exciting or funny. So
yeah, I know. When I cut my finger, again, like I was using a sharp knife. It was on frozen chicken. For whatever reason, I thought trying to pry frozen chicken open with a sharp knife was gonna go well. I don't know. I still don't know what the fuck I was thinking. Like, that's the kind of thing that, given any other day, I would have never done it. But I was like, all right, food time. And I cut myself. It was so fast. I didn't even realize I cut myself because it was just like, it just happens, you know? And the only reason like I noticed, well, it was pretty fucking obvious once it happened, was because blood went everywhere. Like, your fingers are like pressurized, dude. I didn't know that.
Really are.
Literally, like blood on the fucking ceiling.
Yeah.
There was blood like on the it was like a fucking, it was like if you poked a hole in something and swung it around.
Yeah.
Like there was blood. It like hit the backsplash of the kitchen, went all the way up onto the ceiling.
Jesus.
I was like, what? I'm covered. It's all over the chicken. The chicken fell on the floor. It's on the fucking ceiling. And I was like, okay, this is not good. Because like it was a deep cut. So thankfully my stepbrother was home at the time, so I was like, yo, can you like grab me a chair and maybe some paper towel? Because immediately, like within probably 30 seconds, I started to like get lightheaded, and I was getting like fucking tunnel vision. I was like, oh fuck, not right now. So I just put like 16 pieces of paper towel around my finger and just like squished the shit out of it. And eventually it kind of stopped, but it was just like, it was no bueno. I had to go to the hospital after like 2 hours because it was not sealed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're just fingers, but there's like I said, it's like they're pressurized. Like it's nuts.
It's like a fucking juice box in there.
A pressurized
Shay
juice
was just saying how Alex stabbed himself. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Stabbed himself right in the stomach
at the factory.
Good old Alex.
Speaking of tetanus, this one should show up.
The scooter?
The rusty scooter.
The rusty scooter.
Yeah, you can kind of see it right along here.
Yeah.
But, we were walking home on Off Block in High Stroll, and we found a rusty scooter, and we were, like, riding as a joke. It wasn't really moving because it was hella rusty. And then, me being the big strong man I am, I'm like, hey, guys, watch this, and I just take the scooter, and I just, like, fucking discus throw it, or whatever the fuck, just into a pond. So it would get rustier, and as it's leaving, I feel a stretch. It doesn't feel that bad. It just slits open my wrist, and I'm like, you don't want rusty metal to cut you that bad. So then I go like this. We're like behind Troll Harbor Place, so we're not by like really close to civilization. So we're just walking. It's still bleeding quite bad, and I'm like just holding it down. And then Luke, one of his Mormon friends, lived nearby, so he went and he's like, "Hey, can you pass us some paper towel? My pal's bleeding." So we go there. Then I went to the Circle K bathroom. The second time I went into the Circle K bathroom with a bleeding limb. The first time being the time we went on Gord's Dart Run on that ice suit,
Yeah.
and I slipped down that hill and fucking busted open my knee and had blood
remember
frozen to my leg. So I've bled in that bathroom
time.
multiple times. But
Probably not your last either, given where you currently work.
yeah, then I think it fully stabbed over, but it was like it was a large enough cut where the stab was like stitching the skin back together, and then I think I probably pulled the stab out too early, and that's why it scarred.
You know, the thing they say with scabs are you're supposed to rip them off your body. Yeah, that's the whole point.
When
They taught me in kindergarten.
Because when I pulled it off, it was like a little canyon of like, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that'll heal. And then I'm like, scar right on my wrist, like I'm an edgy 16-year-old.
I mean, like, to be fair, I typically can't resist picking at scabs. They're just fucking annoying. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but like they're just annoying. I pick at them every time I see them.
Yeah. Shout out Stab Pitching. That'll be our next sponsor.
Brayden, were you in the washroom that one time?
I was not in the washroom the moment it happened, but I was the kid that walked in 5 seconds afterwards. Because to set the stage here for everybody listening, back at the school me and Jacob used to attend as little babies, for some reason everybody thought it was just cool as fuck to go hang out in the washrooms. We weren't vaping. We were like 8. I don't even think vaping existed.
This was pre-vape era. This was junior high, like grade 5 or 6 probably.
Yeah,
no, that's
this was
elementary,
early days.
sorry.
Elementary, yeah. This was like early days. So everybody just thought it was cool as hell to go in the bathroom and fuck around because teachers couldn't go in there. It was like there was a student bathroom and a teacher bathroom, which is in the teacher's lounge. So none of the teachers ever really went in there unless people were causing too much commotion. So this was like the cool spot to go hang out and do shit. And I walk in, and Jacob, I'll let you explain your side of the story in a minute. But it's just I walk in and there's just blood. People are screaming, and I just kind of like shocked and I didn't really know what to do. So Jacob, please explain to the people out there listening what exactly happened.
So I've had many problems in this washroom. This isn't the first time, or no, actually this would be the first problem I've had in this washroom. Later on in life, I got peed on in that washroom. That's a different story.
Another classic.
This one was, I don't know what the fuck. Again, like Brayden said, it was the cool kid spot to hang out. I don't know why the fuck. I don't know what was going on, but basically the washroom is you enter through a little corridor, and then to your left is the washroom. So there was 3 urinals and then 2 stalls. So you know how stalls they've got like the partition wall that connects to the wall, and then there's the door, and then there will be another wall like connecting you to the next stall, and then a door, and then the door butts the wall basically. But along the door frames, it's got like these 2 side pieces on either side of the door, and then there's a metal bar that runs the top, I guess, to hold the frame. But for whatever reason, you would assume this would be a solid metal bar, but it was more like a channel. It was like a U, and it just so happened that this fucking metal was like sharpened. So like, yeah, this, you know, like how they put like those nails on things to keep pigeons and birds from setting up there.
Yeah.
Basically like that, but to stop fat kids from hanging off of it. So, me being the cool kid I was in grade 5, or it was probably like grade 5, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I was the first one to try and jump up. We were gonna like, I guess, try and do pull-ups on this, maybe? I don't know.
I feel like it's because you were the tallest and you could easily reach it or something.
Yeah, I mean, I was a tall guy, but like, we were all like most of them were fit. I wasn't fit. That's whatever. Besides the point, it would have happened. So I jumped up and I, wrapped my fingers around it like this to grab onto the metal bar. But like I said, this metal bar was a channel. So instead of me wrapping my fingers around what I thought was a bar, I wrapped my fingers around a sharpened, thin piece of metal. Both hands. I'm using one for push to talk, but both hands. And I mean, you can't really see where the scar is anymore because this was a long time ago. Basically, it cut clean across, one straight line across all of my fingers. And it just went like, it was just flaps of skin
Oh.
all the way down to like the middle of my finger where the bone would be.
Mhm.
And I remember like typically if you grab a bar, you just let go, right? But I had to like lift my hands off of it
Oh,
to,
because
to
you're
unleash
stuck into
myself
it.
from this fucking
Oh.
yeah. So I jumped up, soon realized that was a mistake, got off of the bar, and that's when it went chaotic. Because we had like, probably like 6 or 7 guys hanging out in the washroom on whatever the fuck we were doing. It was probably like a snack break or something, recess. And all of a sudden there's fucking blood everywhere. I'm just spewing. And we're like, okay, this is not a good thing. Obviously, like when these things happen, like when you get these cuts, it's not like you don't just like collapse, like you bleed, but your body can keep up. I mean, hopefully, given the cut, I guess. But so I'm like, okay, this is not good. So I remember specifically what we did because what the fuck else are you gonna do? So we started running water over my hands. Just that's kind of what you do. And I don't know what, like, I don't know what the proper action would be. But basically, what happened was we took paper towel and we stuffed the bottom of the sink so that the
This
water
is
that
about
we
where I
poured
walked in.
into the sink would no longer drain. And then we just filled the sink up, and I just had my fucking hands like cupped in the sink, just bleeding into the sink. And the water
this is where I
slowly
walked in,
turns
and the
from
water was
clear to red.
like bright red too. Like it was
So we just had this sink full of like fucking Kool-Aid, and I don't remember what happened from there.
Cursed
I'm assuming
Kool-Aid.
somebody went and got help.
Yeah.
I think a teacher. I think I ended up turning around and being like, "So you guys are just doing this, huh? Maybe we should get like band-aids or adults who know what they're doing."
Welcome to the
and then I
cult.
But yeah, oddly enough, I was fine. Nothing bad happened, but I just cut clean across all my fingers, and it's been scarred. Like the scars are actually very faded now. But yeah, that was an experience. And I would never ever jump up to try and do a pull up off a fucking stall door anymore.
That's I feel like that's the lesson to take from that experience.
I'm sure I saved many people from doing the same thing too.
Yeah.
Since we're doing weird scars, I got like the weirdest scar, and it's like almost not visible, like at all. Like even to me, I can barely see it, but it's like right along here. And I thought, like I was out mowing the lawn. I was like probably 14 or 15, right? Nice summer day. I'm out mowing the lawn, and literally through this window here, right, the one that I'm in this room for right now.
Yeah.
There's like some sharp edges along the window on the outside, right? Because it's a windowsill, right? That's how they work, right? Anyway. And I was like mowing the lawn, but it's kind of tough because we got like some alcoves on that side. So it's like you kind of got to maneuver the lawnmower like through it. And I just kind of like lightly scraped my forearm against it, like against the windowsill. And I was like, oh, okay, that's no big deal, right? Like it was literally like, one of those like white cuts where it's just white with like a little bit of blood coming out of it. I was like, yeah, it's fine. Whatever. I didn't even think about it, right? And it's like, for some reason, like 8 years later, I still have a scar from that like one, literally like not even a noticeable little cut. Like it hurt really bad, but it didn't bleed a lot. It wasn't deep. It was just like, like a surface level cut. Yeah, apparently, and I've still got the marks to show it.
I got a star on my knee from that was my first star from swimming once. Because I was doing that thing you do where you just like trying to go on your knees and you like walk around the pool on your knees, and there was just a janky pool tile that just cut open my knee.
Nice. I have a scar on my knee too, actually. Mine came though. You guys know? Okay, so new age couches and stuff like that aren't loaded with springs, but I had kneeled on an old couch cushion.
Yeah.
At some point in my childhood. And this was an old couch cushion, like I said, loaded with springs. And I guess there was a rip in the couch cushion that I didn't know or something, and I was probably wearing shorts because that's what I wore as a kid, was just always shorts. So I went to like, I guess I like went to kneel on this couch cushion and just happened to drag my kneecap across an exposed, just sharpened spring because, like springs can be sharp. Anyways, dragged my knee across this fucking spring, immediately felt that one and never ended up kneeling. because I, kind of carried on the motion and stood up as my kneecap was now cut straight across. So I was like, oh, pleasant. And it's, it's still very scarred to this day.
I mean, better your knee than your butthole.
I mean, it could have been worse. There's not much, not much blood behind your knee, to be fair. So thankfully, it was just, like a cut, bled a little bit, and it just, you can clearly tell I cut my kneecap open. But I've never had to have like any surgery or anything. I don't have like any surgery scars.
No, I mean, my throat's probably scarred from like tonsils and shit, but like no one's gonna see
and all
that.
The fucking cigarettes you smoke.
Hey, I'm off the darts.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. Happy to hear that.
I mean, it's literally as soon as I bought the vape, I didn't buy another patch of darts because I quit vaping, and then I started vaping off of Xavier's vape, and then he got rid of his vape, and I'm like, well, I still need nicotine. Dart time.
Back to the darts. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Nicotine will
It's a bastard.
Now for our next topic, you guys who've been here for a few episodes know that typically I'm the topic list, and like the boys just find out about the topics as they happen. This one was suggested to me privately by both boys at one time or another. It's a topic they both have a good amount of experience in, being former hefty boys, and I figured we'd talk about it. I'm a bit undecided. They have very strong convictions and beliefs about why general society sort of misunderstands why this happened and maybe why it didn't happen, so I'll just jump right into it. Our next topic is the Holocaust and why it didn't actually happen. Jacob, I know you have a big speech on this, so I'll let you go first.
I don't want to get Gina Carano'd.
Wait, what happened? Sorry? Could you...
Well, that's certainly a topic, isn't it, Liam?
Okay, I guess you guys got a little gun shy, so that's okay. We'll move that to another episode. I personally think it happened, and I think it's atrocious you guys would deny the tragedies that occurred in World War II. But moving on, Jacob, do you have a compelling Carpentry certitude you'd like to...
Certitude, you say?
Yeah, it's a synonym for fact.
Well, I mean... See, I thought this was a wood fact, not a carpentry fact.
Well, I was gonna make it wood
fact.
Okay, well, fuck,
I have a wood fact prepared for today. I got a carpentry fact too.
Okay.
I think I heard the numbers last week. I don't know how accurate this statistic is, but I think it was something like 98.5% of carpenters are men.
Okay.
Meaning that less than 2% of carpenters are women. Now, I don't know how outdated this statistic is. And again, it was just a word of mouth thing. I didn't look it up or anything. So it could be wrong, to be fair. But stands somewhat to reason. And I found it very shocking that only less than 2% of women are carpenters. Now, again, this could be very outdated. This could be like 1960s. But who knows?
I see Liam with the light. He's doing some fact checking.
Yeah.
But... what Liam does is fact checking. I have a wood fact for you.
Hell yeah.
And you know how there's different types of wood. One of the terms you may have heard when referring to wood is hardwood. Now, there are other types of wood, such as softwood, perhaps you may have heard of. But this specific wood fact is related to hardwood. In fact, the hardest wood.
Wow.
It is a native tree to Australia. And it's called an Australian bouloke. I think that's how it's pronounced. And it has
those good old Australian blokes.
It's quite a hard tree. Quite a hard tree. I believe. Let me see if I can find the numbers here. I think it was like, yeah, there it is, 5,060 IBF, which is a lot. I think the softest softwood there is like 28.
Okay.
Something
and
like that.
What again to compare?
5,060.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So it's quite. Actually, there is another tree. This hard Australian bouloke, as it's called, is also referred to. It's an ironwood tree. Hard to believe that an ironwood tree would be the hardest. But I mean, it is what it is, right?
It's my favorite Iron Man villain.
The next hardest tree I'm totally gonna butcher this one though, is a Synopsis Braziliensis, which has a 4,800 IBF.
Okay.
But interestingly enough, it is a species of flowering plant in the cashew family.
Oh yeah, yeah. Cashews are actually just seeds. Fun fact. When I went down to Belize, they showed you like the cashew fruit, and it's like a fruit, and then there's like a little nub, and that's the cashew, and it's actually poisonous. You gotta cook it like 3 times and peel like 8 layers off to get a natural
Oh, it's
cashew.
so worth it though.
Yeah,
Cashews do be having some tasty seeds.
I do have the numbers. So it said, so this is for 2018, that about 10% of the construction industry is female. However, it breaks down into building inspectors are 14% women, painters are 7.2%, helpers are 5.6%, and then trades like carpet installation, carpenters, drywall hangers, and electricians are somewhere between 1.9 and 3.7%. So that number is pretty accurate then.
Yeah.
Right. Man, we gotta get more women in the trades, yo. Trades slap.
I was thinking about
fuck
like
a degree.
trades, and it's like, bro, if we had like you're in carpentry, if we had like more boys going to trade, we did like a plumber and electrician, and like someone in masonry, you could probably just fucking have like a house building crew.
We got our boy Danny. I'm not gonna say his last name. But
Metal
Husky,
Fab.
you know Daniel. He's he's in welding. In fact, I was actually thinking about asking him if I could get some things made. Like I wanted to get some fucking table legs, and I was thinking maybe he could hook a brother up, and then I would build the tops for the tables.
Diesel Dan.
And him and I could probably make a gnarly team, pumping out some sick ass modernized tables. I build the tabletops, he builds the table legs. We get some industrial type tables. Motherfuckers eat that shit up on Facebook, I bet.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, we could really get a whole team of trades assembled, and we could literally just churn out we could make a whole company.
Yeah.
That just churns out houses.
Like what other trades would you need for a house? And like, would you even really need a mason?
Depends on the house.
Yeah, I suppose.
You would need HVAC.
Right.
You would need plumbing and electrician and carpentry. That would build you a standard house as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I mean...
You need an engineer, though. You need an industrial engineer, depending on the size of the house. But you need an engineer to like make sure everything is sound. You need an architect to build the plans. An estimator would probably be more along the lines of the carpentry trade to assess the cheapest and best way to do it as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, the architect part could also come from carpentry, just drafting plans. That's kind of what carpenters do as well. Mm-hmm. So, really, engineering, carpentry, electrician, plumbing, HVAC. That's a house team right there.
There's your house. Build it up.
Building houses. So we're all going to get our first... I mean, I'm assuming you guys are going to get the vaccine. I don't know what your plans are, but we're eligible for our first dose in June.
I'm so fucking ready.
I hate my birthday vaccine.
But like, oof.
Yeah.
I heard these ones hurt extra bad too.
I heard my mom got hers done just the other day because she's in healthcare and she like volunteered to do vaccination clinics, and so they got her in a little earlier. But apparently it's like a pretty small needle, at least for the Pfizer.
Yeah, I've heard different. Like I think it's the AstraZeneca one. I heard that one hurts like a bitch.
Okay.
And like I think it's a certain age group can't get that one because it's too dangerous. Like I think you have to be at least 18 to get that one, and you can't be older than like 60.
Yeah.
Or it's like a risk
subset. Yeah. Then there's the I think the one that we'll be getting though is the Johnson & Johnson one. Just because
we're baby powder company.
Hell yeah. No, well the thing is that one's only one shot.
So I'm pretty sure I thought Nova Scotia was in the 2-dose one.
No, we had Pfizer and AstraZeneca already.
Yeah.
Like we just approved AstraZeneca a little while ago. Pfizer's been ready since the start. And then Johnson & Johnson just got approved like a week or two ago. But then if you look at like the actual vaccine rollout plan we have, we're getting those shipments in starting in June. But then the thing is by that point, it's only going to be like I think 34 to 30 and then the 20s
Yeah.
after that, right?
Yeah.
So we should, you know, we're more likely to get like say the one shot J&J one than anybody else, which is nice.
Cool.
Okay. That'd be sick.
Watch
Fun
just
fact.
like this fucking massive booster needle. You know those needles that like your parents probably have? They still have
Mhm.
scars from. Have we
Yep,
talked about
yep.
this before?
I don't
It's like
think
a
so.
big fucking
Yeah, a big circle.
spiral.
Yeah.
It's like a circle scar. Your parents probably all have them. I know
Yeah.
mine do.
Mine
And
do
it's
too.
just like this big fucking like scar on their shoulder. And it's probably like yay big. It's no bigger than the size of your thumb.
Mhm.
But it's just like a big patch of needles. It's probably I can only fucking imagine what the actual needle looked like. Because
Yeah.
I think it was just like a bunch of needles basically bundled together, like fucking duct taped together. And they just fucking
Mhm.
slam that bitch on your arm.
If you want to be one thing, it's efficient.
I mean, yeah. If you want to leave a scar on a whole fucking generation, then yeah, do it up.
I mean, they've left
Here's all of
more
the Madison
environmental and financial scars on us, so fuck them.
That's true. Yeah, we don't have to hold the scars on our body because our bodies are gonna fucking decompose in the toxic world they've left us with.
We have many a mental scar.
Amen, brother.
It'd be funny if it wasn't so goddamn true.
Zoinks.
Yeah, we live in the darkest timeline. That's okay though.
Yeah.
But hey, our timeline has good science, and we can make those depression lamps.
Mm.
So the brightest timeline.
So, an announcement I guess I should make on the podcast. Not that it
Right.
is once everyone's at least decently vaccinated and COVID numbers are down. It had to be canceled last year due to public health risks, but I'm officially announcing Liam Banger V4. It'll be a banner for the ages. I'm gonna invest some money in this one because I think.
Can we invite Protein?
I mean, yeah, if Protein wants to fly down, he's more than invited. But yeah, we're gonna have fucking. It's gonna be a fucking wild one because it's gonna be. We gotta get 2 years worth of fucking not just Liam bangers, but just all the missed fucking shit we did.
Let's get Protein in on it. He's down. He sounds down. Oh, there goes Braden.
Yeah, Protein, come out east to Liam Banner V4 and get plastered with the boys.
Liam, I haven't mentioned this to you yet, but once I graduate, I'm planning on taking a trip out to the Jasper mountain range and meeting up with many of the 404.
Okay, so it's the Rocky Mountains, you piece of shit.
Well, Jasper National Park or whatever the fuck.
You gotta go to Banff too if you're out there.
I mean, yeah. I plan to go on like a hiking trip through that area and also meet many of the 404. So you might want to start saving some of that gas station money.
Oh, dude, I'll fucking, I'm always down to Berta. And also, too, yeah, I might be able to get us some, cheap airfare with my dad's connection.
Buddy!
I didn't even think of that. Ooh.
I'll have to see exactly how it works, but I might be able to since I'm still part of his, to at least, So,
yeah, I'm trying to go hike, see Banff, see all that shit, and
Banff is pretty incredible.
That's my first trip. Though
the highlight though will be
me and the woman have to graduate first.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, you can hike up the Banff Mountain, and then you get the free gondola ride down.
Fuck yeah, free gondola ride. That's better than my plans, which were to just roll down the side of it.
Are you scared? Hike though.
Are you and are you scared of heights at all? Like, do heights?
I mean, like, not so much. I mean, like, I have a level of discomfort when I'm like, yeah, if I fall down there, I'd die, 100%.
Yeah, because I've been on the gondola a bunch. It's shaky and high, so as long as
it
you're
is
cool
a little,
with that.
yeah. It's
nice.
It's
I mean, shaky's the sketchy part. High, not like. I mean, like, I understand that the roof of a building that you're putting shingles on is less high than a fucking gondola that soars through the sky.
Yes.
But I had to stand on a roof the other day and put shingles on it. It's kind of sketchy. I was like, yeah, if I just like lean this way too far, I will fall and hit my head and be dead. So that's cool. But
shout out Wimmis.
The whole idea is not falling and dying. But yeah, absolutely. Gondola sounds fun.
But yeah, no, I do love Alberta. Lived there for like 8 years.
Honestly, it is a really nice place.
Like, yeah, I would love to go to Banff. That's on the checklist.
Banff, super nice.
Before then, we gotta get Protein down here for Liam Banger. V4.
Yeah, bro, teen, spend $1,000 in airfare to come get drunk with us for a night.
Worth it, bro. Team. Don't listen to him.
I mean, I'm sure we could house him for like a week.
Oh yeah.
Just take a week off work.
Sleep
Come
in,
party with some
sleep in one of
youngin'.
our basements for a week.
We can
Come back
finally
with
have the
some
Braden standoff.
Yeah, you guys will fight to the death.
We can fight to the death over who gets to keep the name. We're all set.
Whoever
Like,
When did you
dies
say
has
it
to
was,
change
Liam?
their name. I don't have.
Yeah.
It'll probably be like, August-ish.
Oh, okay, I could probably have at least one spare bedroom renovated by then.
Okay.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit, you're moving into the house this summer, ain't you?
We're back
That's
home.
coming up
Yeah,
soon.
in like a month.
Jesus, that's
Dude.
crazy.
If you need help moving and it's on a weekend.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking busy. I was just talking to my mom about that earlier. Actually, like it's gonna be like, I finish school, start a work term,
Hey, Will.
and work full time while also moving.
Yeah,
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be
Jake, yeah, dead ass. If you need the minivan or something, we can take the seats out. I definitely don't mind doing a few trips, bringing her over.
that might actually be clutch because
I don't mind
I mean,
helping
you can
load
see my whole living room behind me here.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah.
stuff to move.
What's
It's
it?
not that crowded.
It would have to be on a weekend, like Friday or Saturday. I mean, I could do it on a day. I just would sleep less, but preferably a weekend to make some.
Sundays are normally a free day for me.
Nice.
Anyways, that's not podcast planning.
Yeah.
You guys don't need to hear
That's for the future.
Anyway,
Don't worry about it, guys.
But yeah, you'll be back closer to the boys, which will be.
Yeah, maybe post vaccine we can have a whole fucking in-person podcast.
I'm so fucking ready for it, boys.
Well, we could. Yeah,
Yo,
I need it.
we could start.
Okay.
doing
maybe even get guest star Peanutsky on
We
there.
really
Peanut
should.
Steve,
That'd
yeah.
that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, do we want to start? I was thinking maybe we should start having like a guest on for like a 20-minute, half-hour segment. Rotate them out.
Yeah.
Oh,
happily.
Peanutsky, don't worry, we all do too.
Yeah, he's just. Yeah, I don't
Just
get me
too
started on
attractive.
Peanut Steve.
I hate bringing him around. It
just
makes us all look bad.
Peanutting all over the place.
Fucking Weird Al hair looking ass.
Yeah, got you.
Got you.
Aw.
Your hair is
All
curly.
right, well,
I'm glad we kept the topics pretty safe this week.
besides our intro was a little shaky. but,
Okay, yeah.
Well, Liam tried to throw one on the previous big boys.
mm.
That was
Yeah,
a
what
weird
was
one.
what was that transition there, Liam? Where does the big boys come into Holocaust denial?
Holocaust. I don't deny the Holocaust. Brayden, why do you always want to talk about Holocaust denial? God damn it.
Oh, Jesus.
But
Well, thanks for coming to our Holocaust denial podcast. No, I'm just kidding. That's not even a funny thing to joke about, honestly. Just Liam brought it up, and now it's on my mind.
Name the YouTube video of the VOD that.
Mhm.
we
Clickbait.
could probably get more viewers just by being completely alt-right. Like there's
We can be really
there's a
controversial. We
real
can do the
hole.
Kanye method. Just do controversial shit every Sunday right before the podcast. More viewers.
That's what you want to get your viewers on controversy.
Liam is a card carrying.
Hard.
Oh man, this one if it was monetized on YouTube, it would no longer be monetized on YouTube.
That's right.
Uh,
We'll have to be more careful in the future. That's fine.
Spoiler
freedom
alert:
of
we won't.
speech.
Uh,
But yeah, it's been a good
all right.
podcast.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.